Hey, how can I stop that thing? Now, just to remind you, we were saying the simple interest and compound interest. Simple interest is normally calculated on the principal or original amount, the loan. If you take a loan or you put some of your cash in the bank, you want them to grow big, we call it maybe simple interest. We calculate simple interest using the original amount of money that was deposited or borrowed, while compound interest, like we can agree yearly. So after every year, when we are calculating the interest for the following year, we calculate the interest together with the amount we deposited earlier on. So simple interest, the formula is always principal times rate times time divided by 100. While the compound interest formula we say is equals to accumulated amount, that is the amount of money after some given period of time will be the principal amount, the amount deposited or borrowed, into 1 plus r over 100 into n. So R there is the rate of interest and N is the period. Sometimes we talk of the terms like semi-annually. Semi-annually means that the guy was getting interest twice in a year. N is equivalent to 2, so he's having 2 periods of interest. While the rate for every period, because it is 2, so first period and second period, so we divide the rate by 2. When it comes to quarterly, it means that the guy is getting the interest, or the bank is getting the interest after every 3 months. So in a year, it's supposed to get the interest of 4 periods, and the rate is R divided by 4. So that is for the first 3 months, another 3 months. Then monthly, if at all if it is monthly, then we say R divided by 12. Therefore, N is equals to 12 every month. Come to look at this one here. We say Salome invested 250,000 for 2.5 years in account which paid 16% compound interest per annum. The interests compounded quarterly. At the end of 2.5 years, she withdrew all the amount. Calculate the amount of money she withdrew at the end of 2.5 years. Salome is doing some investment. Initially, aliweka 250,000. That is for 2.5 years. So the first thing that I'll do, because we have the word compounded here, I will write the compound interest formula, which states that amount is equals to the money that the person invested into 1 plus R divided by 100 raised to N. Now the next thing is you're supposed to know R and N, the rest are there. So R, the person yearly, the rate for yearly is 16%. But in a year, the guy is getting interest 4 times, that is quarterly. So each period, the rate we are going to use 16 divided by 4. We divide that. That is what we say. If it is quarterly, look here, R divided by 4, which is 4%. The number of periods, how many times is he going to get the interest? The interest here will be in a year. In a year is getting how many times? In a year is getting 4 times. That is in a year, but it went for 2.5 years. So we have 4 for the first year, another 4 for the subsequent, the following year, and then the other one, it went to a half. So half in a year is getting 4. So half of 4 is 2. That is equals to 10 periods. So therefore, our N there is equivalent to 10. If at all you can't argue in that format, someone else can also say that 2.5 is the same as 5 over 2. But we said we multiply it by 4. So that is 2 goes here 1, 2 goes here twice. So it's getting interest after every a total period is 10. So therefore, we now come and substitute. The first part that I've done there is always a problem. Principal is 250,000. That is the amount of money that was borrowed or invested. Into 1 plus R. R is 4 over 100. Now we don't use 16 because we are calculating for each period. We raise it to 10. Raising it to 10 here means that we get for the first year, the first period, second period until to figure kwa 10. That's why we are raising it to 10. That is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 is to 10. So how do you work out this? This one you start with bracket, as board must say. You press 1 plus 4 ABC, that is comma 100. We raise it to 10. Then once we've raised it to 10, we'll get like 1.48. So we multiply it again to 250,000. We'll just come and write the final answer. So the amount that the guy withdrew was 370,000. 370,000 061 061.07. That's why in the bank you normally see there are some dots there. And again, you need to be realistic. If the guy invested 250,000 after 2.5 years, that is not light duration. It's a very big duration. So that amount of money is supposed to grow. So that is 370,000. Sometimes you see people doing, they are getting less money. So you ask yourself, these people, which mathematics are they doing? So a man invested 240,000 in account which pays 16% interest per year. The interest. So this thing is what is guiding me. This is 16%. It is per year. That's why when I'm calculating periods, I'm going to calculate based on a yearly basis. So since you've seen the word compounded here, the first step, write the compound interest formula, which says that A is equals to P into 1 plus R over 100 raised to N. That is the compound interest formula. Okay, so once we've written that, we are supposed to know that the amount of money that was invested is 240,000, which pays this. So we are supposed to look at the rate. We have the term quarterly here. So if quarterly basis means that our rate will be, we can't use 16. The reason why we can't use 16 is because 16 was per year. But in a year, you realize that the guy is getting interest like 4 times. So that's why I have to divide so that I know that this after third month, after March, what interest. So for us to calculate the interest by March, we use the rate at that time of March. We can't use the rate of December for March. That will be kind of overcharging. So we divide here by 4. 4, why am I dividing it by 4? Because he was getting interest in a year 4 times. So that is equals to 4%. Now n is the number of periods. This is 1.5 years. That is the time. So in a year, the guy is getting interest 4 times. Quarterly means after every 3 months, 3 months, 3 months, 3 months, 3 months. So that will be in a year, the first year is going to get interest 4 times, then and a half. In a year, it's getting 4. So half of 4 will be 2. That is equivalent to 6 interest periods. And I said earlier on, if you can't reason in this format, you can say that is 3/2 times 4. 2 goes here 1, 2 goes there 2. So interest period is equivalent to 6. This is one area that people must understand before we go to this. So therefore we say amount equivalent to principal is that amount which we said, you can borrow or you can invest. Depends with the individual. 1 plus R. What is R? R is 4%. I'm not using 16 because in a year is getting like 4, 4, 4, 4. For it to total to 16%, it equals 16% per year. So after every 3 months, it's getting that. So that is 4%. Raised to period 6. That will be equals to cash. So what you do there is very simple. Add 1 plus, you start with the bracket. 4 divided by 100. You get something there. You raise it to power 6. Once you raise it to power 6, you come back and multiply it with 24,000. Your work is just to write the final answer. So you'll realize that the guy had that man had 30,367.656. You're a businessman. That amount of money is supposed to be more because the guy was doing some investments. He was getting some interest. Anytime you're getting less amount of money than the principal, it means that whatever you're doing is not mathematically, is not right.